Hey guys, what's going on? So, this is a video that I am pretty excited to make, except for one small thing. This may be a video in which you see me eat crow. What do I mean by that? Well, these folks here, Silent Strike. If you remember, I made a couple videos about this stuff and how it basically destroyed my gun, right? And what I mean by that is this stuff is labeled right here 223, but they say very vehemently, do not fire this stuff out of a 223 spec barrel. It has to be true mil spec 5.56. If it's not, it's dangerous, don't shoot it. They say that, okay? They don't say it that vehemently at the time that I bought it. If you look on their website now, they're pretty vocal about it, okay? Whether that had anything to do with me or not, I don't know. So, after that video, I don't know if I really ruffled their feathers, but Jeff over there at Allegiance was right. Allegiance? Yes, Jeff over there at Allegiance Ammunition, he has been on my case about re-evaluating that ammo because he is gung-ho that it is not his ammo that broke my gun, all right? So for the longest time, I just ignored it because I was like, well, I gave you one chance and it messed up. I gave you another chance and it messed up. And every time I bring out my guns to shoot this ammo, it messes up. It never blew up again because every shot, whatever, I would check it and make sure that it was in battery. And a lot of times it would not get in battery, or the bullet would get stuck inside of the neck, inside of the chamber. And when I go to strip out the case, right, it would separate the bullet from the case and the powder would all spill out and the bullet would be stuck in the chamber and I'd have to knock it out with a ramrod. Well, he sent me volumes of emails basically explaining all this stuff, and I'm like, I know how an AR-15 works. I know things need to be in spec. My main thing has been that if this is on the utter extreme big side of a 5.56 NATO spec, all right, and then I happen to get a spec AR-15 right through the 5.56 NATO chamber that's on the lower side, those don't combine. That's called stacking tolerances, and that's a big thing when it comes to building AR-15s because everybody and their brother makes them, and they all might be spec, but if you get the wrong stacking tolerances, you know, the biggest one and the littlest one put together, they just don't work. They don't, and that's where you run into problems. That may be what has happened to me. So what we're gonna do, what I went ahead and did is I ordered a head spacing, and this may or may not be the right tool to actually check all this stuff. I ordered some headspace gauges from Brownells, all right, so this is not an eBay purchase or whatever. I spent good money on this that my wife didn't want me to spend, by the way. Hope you appreciate that, Jeff. And we are going to headspace the barrel that they sent us because he sent me this barrel that he says will work. The gas block that he says will work. Gas tube. He also sent me, I'll try to put in the name somewhere, the specific spring company that makes these springs, because I guess not every spring is made equal. So a correct spring and a correct buffer. And I guess not all buffers are created equal either. So this starts to, the more I talk about this, the more I'm like, well, that sounds like a specialized gun. And yeah, it might be a specialized gun, or maybe everybody's making these things so loose tolerance based that to get a true spec gun, it has to be all right. And I don't know. So we're going to see. We're going to see. What we're going to do, first off, we're going to shoot his gun. All right, this is not his gun, but his barrel, and he's getting all this stuff back. He didn't give me this for free. I think he's scared that I'm going to say it's trash and then try to keep it. But it's a 12, I think it's a 12.5 inch barrel. I think it's a 1 in 6. Yeah, it's a 1 in 6 twist. I'll show you here. If it'll see 5.5, right, I'm going to read it. 5.56 NATO, 1 in 6, 5R. Okay, that 5R is interesting. And then underneath it, it's a Saturn 6290. Saturn 6290. With it being 5R rifling, that kind of means that it has less pressure from all around when the bullet's traveling down the barrel, because usually you have grooves and lands across from each other. A 5R, they're offset, so it doesn't squish the bullets so much, which is actually a really good thing. I remember reading about that a long time ago. Sidetrack. So here we go. This is the 12.5 inch gun. We're going to check his spec, okay? And we're going to make sure everything's good in copacetti. I'm going to do all this on camera so that y'all see. I might speed some stuff up, but I'm going to keep it here so you know I'm not cheating him. And I'm not cheating y'all. Because the thing of this ammo is, I bought this ammo originally when I first built my Mark 12 with the suppressor, the whole get out, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, man, I want some like like tick fart, you know, that quiet, just you can't even hear this gun go off. If you have subsonic shooting out of a Mark 12, a good Mark 12, a proper built Mark 12, that has the potential to be so quiet. It's just scary. And that's why I bought it, and it didn't work. So I keep saying it didn't work. It didn't work then, and we're going to get into that in here in a minute. Anyway, here we go. This is the go gauge. This is the no-go gauge. We're going to do the no-go gauge first. So we're going to drop that into the chamber. Okay. We're not going to release the bolt. We're going to ride it home. Okay. We're going to let it set just a little bit. Okay. So, and as you can see, no-go means it did not go fully into battery. There's a big old gap right here. All right. Pull this guy out. Now we're going to do our go gauge. Pull this back. Put our go gauge inside. There we go. Go gauge goes in there. It's flush. It's nice. I don't even have a forward assist on this gun right here. It's purple. Long story behind that one too. But it's forward, so it's good to go. Okay. So this, his upper is proper head space. Now, maybe I should be checking another measurement. I don't know. I'm sure he'll tell me if it's wrong. But that's the thing. So, first off, we're going to try, which one is this? Oh, this is the older box. This is older stuff. What he sent me, and get this too, what he sent me one of these boxes and I bought the other one. Alright, so he really doesn't trust me enough, I don't think, to send me 2 free boxes of this ammo. And I don't blame him at all. I'm going to save this 80 grain. This is what he sent me a long time ago whenever the other stuff didn't work. But what he's got here, I don't know if you can see this, 223, 110 grain. Okay, 110 grain. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my chrono. That's the whole thing. You can hear if the bullet is supersonic. Usually before the... you can usually hear, especially on a suppressed gun, you can hear if the bullet is supersonic. If it's supersonic, you're going to hear that crack. This does not have a suppressor on it right now, and I'm not going to put one on it right now. We're just going to see if it chambers, if it cycles, and if it is shooting subsonic. Okay, so I'm going to start a new group. This is going to be... So Legion's 110 out of the 12.5. I'm going to move y'all over just a little bit, hopefully. You can see. And you're not going to be able to see the chrono, brother. And that won't go that way. Well, I'll call them out to you as I see them. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. It'll be right here if you can see it. Okay, I'm putting on my ears because this is not suppressed. All right. What we're going to do, okay, we're going to load up 5. All right. And one thing to note, I'll try to take a picture of this as I can. It appears, and he did confirm, that they did change slightly the profile of the rounds. Because they used to be... Do I have the old 80 grain? Yes, I do. Hold on. This is probably really hard to tell on camera. Probably. This is the 110, and this is the 80 grain. If you can tell, I don't know if you can tell. If you can see it in person, you can tell. The 80 grain and the 110 is actually has a more of a, what's it called, a Spitzer? I don't remember. It's a sharper point, right? Whereas the 80 grain is more of a blunt point. Okay, and all that really does, or says to me that it does, is it allows it to chamber a little bit better. And that's kind of how what he said. Okay, so we have 5 rounds, right? We got 5 rounds of his ammo, of Silent Strike, okay? Shooting out of his barrel, his gas tube, his buffer spring. This is a Colt mil-spec buffer tube that shouldn't have anything to do with anything, all right? We have an EOTech on here, but that doesn't make any difference. So, magazine seats. You're seeing this for the first time. I haven't fired this stuff, okay? Okay, it does chamber. Now, let's see if we can get it to fire, and let's see if we can get it to cycle. Close this box. Okay, here we go. Start my group. 921. Looked like it ejected forward. 915. Ejected forward again. 894. I knocked over my, you see that? I knocked over my thing. 909. This should be the last one. And it should, as he always says, hold open on the last round. Should, right? Yeah, because there's nothing in there. Okay, here we go. 930. Okay, and there you go. It did hold open. Okay, that's everybody's big deal. Anybody that makes subsonic ammo, they're always like, and it holds open on the last round. Great. Okay. It did function in his gun. Okay? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to look at one of my guns. I'm going to headspace one of my guns and see if my gun will do the same thing to alleviate anything like, oh, well, that it works as his barrel. He's tuned it. He's done whatever. Maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't. We're going to check and we're going to see. So this guy's coming off. And then I'm going to grab my Mark 18 Mod 0 upper. I'll be right back. Actually, you know what? We're going to shoot it out of my inspired Mark 18 because that has threads on it to where if it does cycle, then I can use the suppressor. Okay? So, the upper, that's a 10.3, 10.25, whatever barrel. We're going to check its dimensions. If it doesn't work, or if it doesn't headspace, then we're not going to use it. All right? So the no-go, slide this guy in here. Push forward, no-go. See that? No-go. The go-go. Alright, go-go goes in there just fine. Nice and flush. Yeah, I got rust all over my gun. Alright, nice and flush. No issue. Okay, this should work. In theory, it should work. Alright, put these guys away so we don't get them lost or confused. We're going to put that on my same lower we were using earlier. Alright. So the same buffer tube. The same buffer spring. Okay. 5 rounds of 110. See if it chambers. Okay, it does look like it chambered. Okay, hopefully we get a reading. It's saying error. If it doesn't, then I'll stop and we'll get a reading. Yeah, I thought for a second it wasn't recording. Whew, that would have been bad. Here we go. 10:35, and we got this going on. Okay. That's just a failure to eject. Set that guy aside. That was 10:35. One more. Okay, chambered in there just fine. I'm not squeezing on the magazine. All right. Wow, that's an error. I said it was 440 feet per second. I know that's not right, but it does look like it chambered. No, it didn't. Okay, it ejected, but it did not load another round. Okay. So before I start saying bad words, I'm going to get another gun, and I'm going to check this, okay? Okay, and for those of you that may or may not know, the speed of sound, what's around 1120 or something like that. So their rounds were holding consistent under supersonic, so they were not supersonic. So here we go. We're going to try this stuff. I'm going to try, I'll just load 3. And this is shooting out of my M4, the one we just got done testing. Let's see if it chambers. Actually, you know what? No, we're not. I'm playing by the rules. I don't know what buffer and buffer tube or buffer spring I got. I don't want him to try to call me out on something. Alright, so this is his buffer and buffer spring. Alright. That chambers. Change this guy. Hopefully y'all can see. Alright, we're rolling. Well, we'll just try to go again. 10 battery. That was at 1685, if that's true. Sometimes this thing glitches out, but 1685. Alright, so did not cycle. Kind of didn't want to go into battery, but we got it. Alright, 812. Alright. Alright, did not cycle. Got it to go in chamber. Alright. Okay, so stop that one, save that group. That was 845. So those were, there's the one glitch, and that bullet wasn't going 1600 feet per second. But it did shoot. All right, it did chamber. One of them was like need a little love tap forward, but it was okay. Our average said 1114, but no, there's a standard deviation of 494, and that's because that one was not in there. That one didn't count. But the problem is that it's not cycling, it's not cycling like it was supposed to cycle. It's not cycling, which is frustrating because that's the magic. You can already buy subsonic ammo, but it needs to cycle. It needs to cycle. If it doesn't cycle, then who cares? Like, I can build something, okay, but if it doesn't cycle, then it doesn't work. Okay, and I'm gonna do his again. We're gonna shoot his again for kicks and giggles. All right, right lower. All right, we're gonna do 3. See, even his, I don't know how well you're gonna see this. I don't have a forward assist, but once it's ever so slightly out of battery. Ever so slightly out of battery. Okay, hold on. Benefit of the doubt. Let me do the same round. Okay, all the way back. Can you see this? Here we go. Okay, now it's in. Now it's in all the way. Good, 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 good. New group. This is with the 12.5. Okay. Getting ready. And we're rolling. .872. That felt good. 872. .911. Never forget. .940. And it held open. Okay, so what does all this mean? I don't know. I really don't know what all this means. Let me save that group. I really don't know. I can't give you an answer. I'm going to try this on my Colt M4. See, somebody said that one of my videos violated the YouTube policy, and they got it passed, basically, right? Alright, so the no-go did not go. The go-go went in. I don't know if you're supposed to sling it like that. I don't know. But anyway. Okay, so those worked. So anyway, yeah, my live streaming is off right now. This would have been a perfect live stream, but yeah, it didn't work. Okay. So this, I'm just gonna shoot one right now. Chambered. .810. Nope. Oh, it didn't even eject it. Okay, well, that was .810. All right, and it did not hold open, and it did not eject. Okay. I know I probably have said I would never do this again, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this on my Mark 12, because if it was to work, if this thing works, this would be the quietest stinking ammo you could possibly ever shoot out of one of these guns. Okay? Alright, same buffer, same buffer tube, same spring. This is all his stuff. Well, the buffer and buffer spring are. Rifle ain't his. No way about that. Alright. Get plenty above. I hope we're far enough above this thing. Mark 12 Mod 1. Same thing. We got 3 rounds. Okay. Really hope this works. Got 3 rounds. Pull back all the way. There we go. Okay, it chambered. That's better than it's done before. So it chambered. Angle y'all down a little bit. You can see what's going on. Hopefully we're not too close to there. All right. And we're started. And we're just going to let one fly right down there. Here we go. Actually hit the guy. Okay, 11:36. It did eject, but it did not pick up another round. You see this? It did not pick up another round, but it did fire, and it did eject. Now see, this time I go to put it in there, and it did not chamber all the way. Okay, so what can I do? I'm going to take out my magazine. I'm going to try to just pop it back. This is what happened last time. Okay, this isn't too bad. But see how it was trying to pull that bullet out just a little bit? It was trying to pull it out. Okay, one thing I did before, everybody's going to call me on this. I didn't headspace it. I headspaced it at the house, but yeah, we need to headspace it on camera. Okay, the no-go. Alright, no-go does not go. The go-go. The go-go did go. Yeah, that's funny. The go-go did go. Okay. So the go-go did go, the no-go did not go. So it is head-spaced. Did not like that round. Okay, one thing I want to see real quick. I'm going to put 2 of these rounds, same things, put 2 of these rounds into the gun. Chamber it. Okay, so it's chambered. Did work. Same thing. I'm not changing my chrono or anything. Okay. Alright, that looks like it ejected. Maybe, right? It ejected? No, it did not eject. So it did not eject that one. Okay. Do one more. Let's see if it holds open on the last round. Alright, so it is chambered. Actually hit steel. It's pretty cool. But as you see, it did not eject. Okay. All right, guys. Here's the thing. From what I'm seeing and from what I'm understanding, this ammo has to be on a very true spec gun. Okay? I just sold, kind of kicked myself for it now because now I thought this gun would work with it, but my Mod Zero, okay? I literally, days ago, I just sold my Mark 12 Mod Zero that I got in a trade. Featured it once or twice here on the channel before. It would cycle with the 80 grain stuff. Believe it or not, and I have footage of it, it was shooting subsonic, right? And with the can on it, those things were mouse farts. Those things were quiet. I'm talking metallic clinkety clank, and that was it. I mean, even shooting underneath this thing where you get that reverb and everything, it was stinking quiet. It was beautiful.
Man. The 930
For whatever reason, though, and that's the same chamber, the same thing as far as I can tell as my Mod 1. All right, the barrels are made by different manufacturers, but they're both Douglas barrels. So it's a big disappointment to me that this gun does not work like that. But I think I still have to eat a little bit of crow, and basically tell y'all that ammo. It probably wasn't the ammo's fault, okay? As far as I can tell. Is it a very high-end... The way that I would say it, and I don't know a whole lot about cars, I've used car analogies before to try to relate to people, and they probably don't make any sense because I don't know anything about cars. But I'm guessing it would be like putting like jet fuel in your little Honda Accord. Right? Your Honda Accord's made to do anything and everything as far as running around town. Yeah, you can drive it on the highway. You can do whatever. You know, you can make it a rice burner car and just go do crazy stuff with it. But you put jet fuel in one of those cars, that engine, yeah, it uses a petroleum-based gas, right? But it's not spec'd out for jet fuel. It's not going to work right. That's the closest I can see to this stuff. Kind of. Except it's not as drastic here. The ammo from Silent Strike, or from Allegiance ammunition, their Silent Strike stuff, it depends on your gun. It all depends on your gun. As you saw, I headspaced this gun. I headspaced this gun, right? This gun, it's shot fine before. I've shot like quarter inch group with Wolf or Tula or whatever it was, crappy ammo. It will shoot, and it will shoot fine. It will shoot everything I've ever put through it, but it did not like this ammo. Okay, his gun, it cycled, it functioned, and it worked just fine, and it was shooting subsonic. To me, it's kind of frustrating because if I was to have a gun that would use a subsonic round, it would be this gun, hands down, 100%, because I can suppress this baby, and it's quiet. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing if you've ever fired one of these. So before we get all crazy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this, I'm just going to play around with it. I'm going to say this is already going on for 25 minutes, but it's an interesting video, okay? What I'm going to say is that if you want to spend the money, and that's the main disadvantage of this stuff, is you're going to spend about $3 or $4 a round, right? After shipping comes out and everything, you're going to spend that on this stuff, and your gun may or may not like it. It may or may not work. It's one of those things to where if I had my Mod Zero out here, and I'm going to put in footage of it, and you'll see it. The audio wasn't that great, but it was quiet. It was so quiet. It was beautiful. It was exactly what I wanted before. And for whatever reason, that gun worked just fine. I mean, it would cycle it. It would shoot it. I think it even held open on the last round. It did it, right? His gun obviously did all that. And I'm not going to say that I think that he spec'd out his barrel and everything. No, it's just that barrel worked. It worked with it. This barrel, this system, it doesn't like it. It doesn't like that ammo. We're going to move on to something else. Okay? I'm not done with Allegiance. I still want to figure out how to make it cycle in that thing, and it makes me upset that it won't, because deer season's coming up, and it would have been so cool. And that's why I told Jeff, I was like, hey, I think you're really going to like this, because I already fired some of the 80 grain stuff he sent me before from a long time ago. I fired that through my Mod Zero, and it was working. I was waiting. I was like, man, this 110 stuff is even going to be quieter. It's going to be great. It's going to run. And then it's like, oh, it poops out and it didn't work. So it's probably more frustrating to me because I wanted to tell y'all to go buy this stuff. You know, if you have a Mark 12, you got a suppressed gun, go get this because it's really cool. It's real expensive, but it's cool to be able to do it. But it's not working right. So another company out there that makes this stuff is called Atomic Ammunition, right? I can't remember where these guys are located. Somewhere's out of the other. But anyway, you can get the ammo on a couple different places. I think Midway USA has it. I can't remember. I bought it off some other website as well. But they have, what is this, 112 grain, okay? And if you look at the difference between this ammo and Allegiance ammo, and obviously I've fired some of this before. Allegiance ammo looks like this, right? This other ammo, right, the atomic ammo, it's more, I think it's a Spitzer. I don't quote me on that. I think that's the profile of these. You could tell it's longer and it's thinner. It profiles more like a spear point versus a snub nose. Now, I'm going to try to fire some of this out of some of these guns, and I'm going to see if it cycles. The numbers we're getting out of here are true subsonic, all right? The numbers for the Silent Strike is true subsonic. All of them but a couple flukes that I think they're still subsonic, but the machine was messing up. Okay? They're shooting subsonic. So this is the same, these people claim to do the same thing, have a cycling subsonic round. Now, I'm going to say, straight off, I fired some of this before, but I'm going to say I talked to the guy that owns this company. I think he owns the company. But at least the guy that worked there. And he laid it out very clear, no uncertain terms, how this stuff is supposed to be used, okay? It's made for close quarter stuff, okay? So let's say you're an entry team. You're carrying around your little Mark 18 or whatever kind of gun, your M4, whatever it is. You load up your magazine with your high power, whatever, your 77 grain, your 40 grain, whatever your agency issue stuff. Your top 3 or 5 round, the top ones, the first ones that come out of the gun. Those are what he recommends you use for these, for this stuff, for his cycling subsonic ammo. The idea behind it is that if you're going to suppress, obviously if it's suppressed is better, but it's not as loud, obviously, subsonic. The first couple rounds when you go into a room, okay, if, heaven forbid, you have to shoot, whatever you got to do, you got to shoot. If it's suppressed, it's even better. But the first couple rounds, you are more than likely on top of somebody. Like you're within 10 feet, okay? And that's where that's the niche. That's the niche of this stuff. Very, very close, okay? This is what I'm trying to say. This is not a sniper round. This is not a gun round that you would give to like a police sniper, a military sniper, and set off a couple hundred yards away and try to pick somebody off. It's not made to do that. It's going to keyhole, it's going to flop and fly. It's not designed to have long range ballistics, right? It's short range. It's supposed to be subsonic at short range. And going back to the whole philosophy behind it is you got a couple rounds, and if those don't do the job, then you need something more powerful. Okay, that's a possibility. Or the individual is increasing his distance, because most people when they get in a fight, you know, especially with guns or whatever, everybody runs. People run. They get out of there. So if you're still trying to engage the guy and he's running, and this is law enforcement stuff, obviously if you're civilian, you don't shoot at people running away from you. You get in a lot of trouble. Not talking about that right now, but your engagements get farther apart, and as the engagement gets further apart and the engagement continues in time, those 3 or 5 rounds are gone. They're spent. You already shot those, okay? And then you're up to your full power stuff. So then if the guy's hiding behind a wall, hiding behind a car, you're using your full power stuff to stop the threat, to stop the guy. Okay, you're not working with this subsonic stuff. That's what the first couple rounds, if you're on top of somebody, that's what they're for. And hopefully it just takes a couple rounds and it's done. And everybody, you know, you saved your hearing, you know, it was safer, all this other kind of stuff. It was great. So that's where there's another guy that did a review on this stuff, and he was like, yeah, I talked about keyholing and talked about the stuff, and you showed him, yeah, because he's not shooting, he's shooting it beyond it, he's shooting it outside of its wheelhouse, all right, if that makes any sense. So we're going to try some of this stuff, okay? I'm going to try it. I'm done with his Allegiance buffer and spring, so I'm going to replace mine so I don't forget, because mine is an H2 buffer. That is not an H2 buffer. My spring is even a little bit longer, so I don't know. Alright, so this atomic stuff, we're going to fire 3 of these. Okay. Same thing as before, except we have an H2 buffer and a standard buffer spring. Alright, see if it cycles. Yep, alright, so it's in there just fine. Chrono is running. 3 shots. 1048. $16.45, so did it again, where it jumped way high. I don't know if that's, I don't know what that is. $16.44, so did it again. So 1048, 1644, 1665. And it did not hold open on the last round. If you saw that, it did not hold open. Okay, but it cycled. So that's a plus. So what we'll do is I'm going to bring this guy back, the Mark 12. Okay. Okay, same thing. I'm going to load up, finish out this row. I got 4. Blew the little cover off of my thing. Hope that didn't make a difference. Okay. Okay, so that chambered. 1527. 1470. 1429. Oh, we got 4. Yep. So we got one more. 1472. And that did hold open on the last round. Okay. Now, let's talk about this for a second. What does this tell us? Save that group. Go to save groups. Okay, standard deviation was a 40. Okay, your average velocity was 1474. That is not subsonic. Okay, granted that is out of an 18-inch gun, but that is not subsonic. So, that is interesting. If that's how they get it to cycle by being supersonic, that's kind of cheating. So we're going to run it out of a 14.5-inch gun. If this is what it's designed basically to be used in, I'm going to do 3 rounds. This is how they're designed to be used. It's entry guns. A lot of entry guns, a lot of cops, whatever. They have 14.5, 16-inch guns, all that. So most people don't carry around an 18-inch gun. So this is the Colt M4. Okay, so same thing. Load it. Okay, it's rolling. 1516. 1352. 1216. I don't know if you can hear it on there, but you can hear it cracking down there, so you know it's supersonic. Save that group. We're going to go back to save groups. So we have, it's weird, standard deviation of 150. The average was 1361, so it was a little bit slower. The average, a little bit slower even than our than the Mark 12. But it is cycling. It is cycling, but it is supersonic. So that's not a great feat if you could have a cycling supersonic round, because that's what it's designed to do, is be cycling. But if it's subsonic and it's cycling, then that's the holy grail, right? I don't know. I don't know what to tell y'all. It is it's interesting. For kicks and giggles, we'll shoot a if I can get one here. What we'll do, this is what we'll do. We'll just do this just for fun. I'm gonna do 1 round of this, the Allegiance. All right, and 1 round of the Atomic. Actually, we'll do 2 rounds of Atomic. We'll finish out that row. 2 rounds of Atomic, followed by 1 round of Allegiance. Okay, so that cycled, or it chambered. All right. 1338. 1540. Okay, and it does look like it picked up that round. That was beautiful. 1142. And it did not hold open, but it did eject. Did you hear that? That is what I wanted you to hear. I don't know how well you can hear that, how well it's going on. We're going to do that again, okay? We're just going to load 1 and 1. This is where it makes me so upset the quietness of this stinking setup, the potential, if they just tune it just a little bit, I don't get it. So, okay, so this is the Atomic. 1442. Okay, looks like it did cycle. So, and it did lock open. So see, there you go. Okay, maybe it'll work now. We're gonna load 2. We'll do 1. Or no, here we go. If it would cycle, I wish you could be here and hear just how quiet this thing is. It's really cool. It is really, really, really cool. Okay. 1 round of Atomic. Definitely supersonic. You can hear that crack. You can hear it, okay? 1400. Just clickety-clack. 1193. Okay, here we go. Maybe it is working now. 1193. Okay, that one was a little low. And it locked open. Okay. This obviously means that I don't know what I'm talking about. This obviously means that I don't even know. I don't even know what this means at this point. Because now it's cycling. But it is suppressed. So it wasn't suppressed before. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe that's the crux of the whole matter. But isn't that cool? Ah. It's just like... Now, what I want to see... This is some of the old 80 grain stuff. If it'll load... This is what was cycling in the Mod 0. Okay? Okay, chambered. A little lower or something. 1040. So see, that's even quieter. And it opened, and it held open. Okay. So I don't know. But that's cool. But it is holding open, and it is subsonic, and it is cycling, so run a can on it. Okay, so what we have to do, now that we're doing this, what we have to do is get out from underneath this thing. I'm going to try to set up some audio stuff so you can maybe catch the sound that this thing is making, or the sound that it's not making. And we're going to try this. We're going to try this, okay? This is going to be cool. Hey guys, we're back at the house. Let's recap everything. Let's go start from the beginning. So if you don't want to watch that whole long, hour-long video, I'm going to direct you to the end here. Let's just talk about what happened. Let's talk about what this was. Initially, long time ago, whenever it was ago, I ran across this Silent Strike claiming to be subsonic cycling 223 or 556 ammo. At that time, I saw this stuff. I had just finished building my Mark 12 Mod 1, and I was super excited about it because shooting regular ammo through my Mark 12 suppressed, because I finally got my suppressor. It was really quiet, it was awesome, it was amazing, and I was ecstatic. And I thought to myself, what better, how much more cool, whatever, could it be to shoot a cycling subsonic round through this Mark 12? Like, to cycle it through this thing. That would be so cool. So initially I went and I got a box of, I think at the time they had 135 grain, which is what they claimed, Silent Strike, the Allegiance ammunition. They claimed it was, I think it was 135 grain or something like that. And I bought some. The first round that went into my gun popped and blew up, and I was pretty turned off and pretty upset. And long, complicated story. I am eating crow because I basically, back then, I blamed the ammo for causing this issue. Now, am I going to say that I'm wrong? Yeah, I think I was wrong because I can't remember exactly every word that I said and exactly how I said it and all this stuff. So I gave the idea that, yeah, their ammo was out of spec and destroyed my gun. I believe that that was wrong, okay? I believe that I did not have all the information at the time, didn't know everything that I know now. So now, reevaluating, relooking at this stuff, I think I figured it out. And full up front, like shooting straight with y'all, ever since I made that video, like, I don't know how many dozens of emails I've had between Jeff and myself, the guy down there at this company, Allegiance Ammunition. He has sent me so many emails, especially after I made my videos saying that this stuff was dangerous. And he was like, he sent me so much information about the specs of how 5.56 ammo doesn't fit all what's labeled 5.56 chambers, because there are a lot of companies out there that are making what they call 5.56 chambered, ARs, and they're really not. And so the best way to explain this, and the best way that I can explain this, is that basically you have what's called stacking tolerances, okay? And anybody that builds probably anything mechanical knows about this, right? If you have something that there's a standard that this is set between this and this, whether dimensions is what we're talking about, you can have, if it's in this range, then it is within spec, so you can use them and interchange them and do things. The problem is if that spec, if you get something on the extreme high end and you try to fit it with something on the extreme low end, there are times where those do not mesh. Those do not, even though they're in spec, the stacking tolerances, they don't work. They will not work together. It's my understanding that's why, like 1911s, it's very much of a gunsmith's gun, because they need to be hand fitted together. They're not, it's not something where you can get this slide off this gun and put this thing on this thing. They got to be hand fitted and put together. AR-15s are more forgiving because their specs are held better, right? There's a lot of people have these things, and a lot of them will work together. 90% of the time, you'll probably be fine swapping bolts, swapping barrels, swapping this, swapping that. You'll probably be fine. Most people will probably never run into an issue, okay? But the more you build, the more you do, the more likely you are to run into something to where you got a high-end spec and a low-end spec, and you try to put them together, and they don't work. That is what happened. That's my understanding of what happened whenever I shot that 135, or tried to shoot that 135 grain round through my original Mark 12 Mod 1. The tolerances were stacked, and they did not work. They did not mesh, and I had a bad situation, bad circumstances happened, okay? Kind of the same thing when I lost my finger. Stacking tolerances, this decision, this decision, this decision. Each one of those was not bad, but you put them all together, it creates a bad outcome. Same kind of thing, okay? So, I don't think their ammo is dangerous. What I think is dangerous is stacking tolerances when it comes to ammo. Now, the way that I see it, and the way that I think it has been explained to me pretty well, is that Allegiance ammo, it is on a higher end of that spec, okay? They're not, I don't think they're sitting right there in the middle of that spec. If they were, I don't think I would have had that problem. I think they're on the higher end of that spec, which is still fine. It's still okay. Okay, my Mark 12, particularly my Mark 12s, right? Those are made with a tighter spec, on that lower end. They're made to be tight and to squeeze out the accuracy of that Mark 262 round, okay? That's what they're made and designed to be used for. So when I put those two together, they didn't like each other and they didn't work, okay? And then I tried to do it on my my 16-inch gun. It was actually my first AR-15 that I ever bought. It was a 16-inch. I'd probably never sell it, get rid of it. I'm just one of those kind of people. And it's labeled 5.56 NATO right there on the barrel. Okay, at the time of making those videos, I did not have headspace gauges. I didn't have any way to measure or check anything. Now I do, and that 5.56 NATO labeled barrel is not 5.56 because it doesn't headspace 5.56. It doesn't. Everything else, besides maybe, I think my 7.5-inch gun, that's a 223 Wild, so it didn't chamber as far as I remember the 5.56 headspaces. So those are not. It's not saying, well, the 7.5-inch, yeah, that's not necessarily out of spec because it's labeled 223 Wild. The 5.56 NATO chambered gun, NATO chambered, labeled. It's labeled that, right? The 16-inch gun that I had in my video before, where it stripped the bullet out of the case and it just had bad stuff happen. Well, that's because that gun's out of spec. It makes sense. It's not going to work. You put a big old bullet in a little chamber, it ain't going to work. It just doesn't work that way. Doesn't matter what's labeled on the gun. You got to check it. So, this is what I'm saying. I don't think their ammo is dangerous. Okay, I misspoke before. I didn't have all the information and everything, and it's hard for me to say this because I don't like being wrong. But hey, in a way, I do like being wrong about this, because if you actually watched my video at the end, it's weird. There's still a lot of hiccups in this ammo that needs to be fixed. That is for sure. I will not back down from that. This stuff is not 100%. All right, it does not work all the time. All right, but at the end, it was cycling out of my Mark 12 when it was suppressed. Both the 110 grain and the 80 grain. The 110 grain had the same problem that these other folks, these atomic folks, have. That the atomic was a little bit worse, where it was consistently metering above supersonic speeds. Okay, so, or above subsonic speeds. I think I got that right. Right, it was consistently about 1,400 feet per second, which is about 150, 200 feet per second faster, right? Or maybe faster than that. I don't know, 300 feet per second, whatever, faster than subsonic. It was breaking the sound barrier, and I don't care if you break it by 1 foot per second. If you break the sound barrier and you get that crack, then you're not subsonic, and your bullet's cracking, and it's not doing what it said it's supposed to do. The 80 grain. Excuse me, wow, I keep burping. The 80 grain from Silent Strike, or from Allegiance, it actually consistently metered below subsonic, or below supersonic. It was like in the 900s or whatever. I think we got some 10s. I don't think we ever got 11s. We get 10s, we get 9s. I think we even got some 800s, depending. I don't remember. I have to go back and look at it. But it was, whatever it was consistently below supersonic, so it was true subsonic. And you can tell, and the one time I actually did get the audio of it, you know, you had the atomic, right, the 112, the atomic's 112 grain stuff, and it was popping, right? You could hear it, it snapped, it popped, and it was supersonic. The Silent Strike 110 grain stuff, right after it popped, right? You could hear that snap, and that's not really good. But then you put on top the other one, the 80 grain, when it fired, if you wear your headphones, you can hear it a little bit better, but it did not pop. It made a different noise, and it was really, really cool. But when it was all said and done, it was really cool when that 80 grain stuff went off, and the fact that it started cycling. So yeah, I'm going back on my word, I guess, is what however you got to say that, and eating crow or whatever. Yeah. I don't think the ammo is dangerous. I think you got to understand the stacking tolerances and understand that. So would I recommend getting this? Well, if you've got $80 or $60 or however much it is to spend on 20 rounds, right? So it comes out to about $3 to $4 a round, which is very, very expensive. Very expensive, okay? If you want to do that, you're running a 50-50 chance of having this stuff not chamber in your gun. And so it's hard for me to say, yeah, go out there and get it. I can't at this point, until Jeff and those folks over there fix all the chambering issues, right? Even in his gun, he had at least one time where it did not fully chamber it did not fully go into battery, which is bad. So I don't know if it's bad or it's not good. I guess it's bad, because if you just pull the trigger, you'd have the issue that I had. But what I'm saying is I have given these people a fourth look or fifth look, whatever it is, and it is now working in my guns. So I don't know what that means. I really don't know what that means. I'm probably just as confused as anybody else out there on this whole thing. What I can say personally for me, what will I do with this information? What will I do with all this? Well, Atomic, until they can slow down their bullets, they are cheaper. They're easier to get a hold of, I think, a little bit, maybe. But they are shooting supersonic. For me, in my guns, my 18-inch, my 14.5-inch, I think in my 10.3, I think, go back and look at the data on that, but yeah, they were shooting supersonic. A little bit, but they were shooting supersonic. The 110s from Silent Strike were shooting supersonic. The 80 grains were not shooting supersonic, they were subsonic, okay? So for me, if they still make 80 grains, then I might try to keep a box on hand. Like I said, it's very expensive. I could get 2 boxes of, or almost get 2 boxes of Mark 262 Black Hill stuff, you know, and that's 100 rounds for about kind of what you're paying for 20 to 30 rounds. Yeah. It's hard to do that. It's really hard to do that. Now knowing that my gun will shoot the 80 grain stuff just fine and it will cycle in at subsonic, it's really cool. And that's what I'm saying. If I can keep a box of 80 grains on hand just to show new people, you know, maybe somebody's never shot a suppressed gun, you're like, check this out. This is really quiet. Same reason I like to keep on hand the 165 grain 9mm stuff to shoot out of my CT Scorpion when that's suppressed. That's really quiet too. You know, if you're getting into the subsonic game, you're trying to get as quiet as you can and cycle. You know, you want the gun to work. And right now, this 80 grain stuff is the best stuff that I have found. So for me, I'm not shunning these people anymore, basically because my guns work with it now, and I understand a little bit more, you know, about how it's supposed to be used. All right, and it's up to each individual person to know that your gun, even if it says 5.56, if you're gonna run stuff like this in it, you need to check it. You need to headspace it, and if you don't have a headspace, then I guess the only thing you could possibly do is buy this ammo, right? And then see if your gun will chamber it. If it will chamber it, then you're probably fine. You're probably good, and it's probably going to work for you. Will it cycle? I don't know. That's one of those things that where these companies need to figure that out. They need to figure it out because atomic, it will cycle, but it's supersonic most of the time. I don't think I ever really got any true subsonic. Maybe ones or twosies, it was subsonic, but most of the time it was supersonic. The silent strike stuff, the 110, sometimes it was subsonic, but most of the time, from what I remember my meter reading, it was supersonic. Yeah, I don't have my little thing out here right now, but I could check. But it was enough times that it was supersonic to where, yeah, it doesn't make any difference. If it breaks the sound barrier, I'm going to shoot my regular stuff. So the 80 grain stuff was working. So yeah, that's as clear as mud. This is probably one of the most, I've shot this video probably more than many of the other ones. In the editing, I tried to fix it all for you to keep it as interesting as possible, but at the end of the day, I can't say, at the end of the day, I can say, yeah, I don't believe this stuff's dangerous. I think it's fine. I think this ammo is just as good as any other ammo out there. No better, no better or worse than any other ammo. I'll just put that out there. I'll say that. What I will say is you need to know your gun specs before you run this stuff. Now, I've already said that, and I'll probably end up repeating myself if I keep talking again. So, I don't know. That's what I learned. I learned that my gun, my particular Mark 12 that I have now, it will run this stuff, the 80 grains, and it's fine. It'll run it just fine. So, anyway. Like I said, clear as mud. Doesn't make any sense. I think it's starting to rain. But it's clear as mud. Yeah. And I'm not going to reshoot this video because, like I said, this is the 5th time I'm doing this. So I think I've said everything that needs to be said. It's not dangerous. What is dangerous is when you stack your tolerances. So know your gun before you run. Not just this stuff, but if you get some other kind of ammo out there, make sure that it works. Not case in point, but the same kind of thing is if you have a carry gun, right? Whatever your gun is, and you find some new Gucci high-end super speed, whatever, laser beam accurate, whatever ammo to run in your duty gun, right? Or your carry gun or whatever you call it. Well, before you just take up them rounds, put them in your mag, load it up and holster it and get ready to go, you probably want to run a couple boxes of it through your gun to make sure it will cycle, because some guns like certain kinds of ammo, some guns hate that kind of ammo. You know, it's not the ammo's fault, it's the particular guns that either like it or don't like it. Some will cycle it, some may not chamber it. It's just, you got to know your stuff. You got to do your homework. So that's what I'm trying to say with y'all. So let me know down below what y'all think about all this. You know, there's like 6 of you core guys that really hang on to this channel. I really appreciate it. Y'all are awesome. I'm really interested in seeing what y'all think about all this. And anybody. I mean, especially if you've seen my other video. Like, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing for me to say, yeah, this is trash, it's dangerous, it's gonna kill you. Because at the time, that's how I was feeling. That's kind of what I was seeing at the time, and it was pretty, yeah, I was pretty upset about it. But now that I kind of understand this stuff a little bit better, I'm like, yeah, well, if you stack your tolerances, it doesn't matter if it's the ammo or if it's something else, you can have some issues. You can run into some, I mean, you're bolting your barrel. If they don't work together right, yeah, you can have some issues, right? Or yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. So let me know down below what y'all think. And if I can get my hands on some more of this 80 grain stuff, we might do some more videos with that. It's real expensive though. So, and I don't even know if he makes the 80 grain anymore. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That's my challenge for you, Jeff. If you if you actually see this video, if you don't make this 80 grain stuff, I don't know why you don't make this 80 grain stuff, because this stuff is the only. Now, I didn't meter the 135 grain. I never actually got that stuff to cycle or run. This 80 grain, you need to make some more of it, because if you make some more of it, more than likely I'll buy at least one box from you, because it is actually working. And when it fires, that's why I wish this whole audio thing. My buddy was out there and he said he had a really good camera. He could have got better audio, but there's nothing beat being there in person and to shoot this stuff and to hear just the different noise. Like it's a pellet gun. It's an airsoft gun. It's something that's so quiet it just blows your mind. Anyway, or it doesn't blow your mind, right? Anyway, y'all be good to be safe. I appreciate your support and everything. We'll catch you on the next video.